Are you planning a remodel for your worship space? You're just staring down the gear list that looks like it belongs in an arena tour? Well, take a breath. You don't need a six-figure budget to get sound and visuals that feel professional. And more importantly, get out of the way so people can worship without distraction. In this video, I'm walking through the core building blocks: the soundboard, PA, wireless mics, stage box, ties it all together, and, a few small pieces of networking gear some people might forget about. And, most importantly, the computers that run everything and make it all flow. This is the high level parts list I'd hand a volunteer starting from scratch on a real budget. First things first, soundboard. Let's start at the heart of the system, the mixer. The Behringer X32 has been the go-to budget digital console for churches for years, and it still holds up. You're getting 40 input channels, 25 mix buses, 32 fully programmable mic preamps, and motorized faders. Features that used to only exist on consoles costing about 5 times as much. The street price is right around $1,900 to $2,000 brand new. And because it's been out for so long, there's a healthy used and B-stock market if you want to save even more. The bigger win for a volunteer-run team is the ecosystem. Because the X32 has been around so long, there are thousands of tutorials, YouTube walkthroughs, preset sound files other churches have shared for free. You can also mix wirelessly from an iPad using the X32 Edit app, which means your sound volunteer isn't chained to a booth in the back of the room. If the X32 feels like too much console, Behringer's smaller Wing or XR line can scale down some. But for a full worship band with drums, vocals, and instruments, the X32 is the one that most teams land on. For a portable or maybe a hybrid worship space, the main PA that I recommend is an EV Evolve 90 pair. This gets actual sound into the room. The Electro Voice, or EV Evolve 90, is a powered column speaker system, and a pair of these is genuinely a great option for a mid-sized worship space. Each Evolve 90 puts out 2,000 watts, can hit up to 134 decibels of max power, and covers rooms comfortably up to around 500 seats. The column design, with 8 small high-frequency drives stacked vertically over an 18-inch subwoofer, gives you even coverage from the front row to the back wall without the harsh hotspots you get from a couple of point source boxes. It also breaks down into 3 pieces that click together in seconds, so setup and teardown for a volunteer team takes minutes, not hours of truck packing. Budget-wise, plan on roughly around $3,400 per speaker, so around $6,800 to $7,000 for the pair. That's a real investment, but compared to a traditional line array and separate subs, you're getting comfortable, comparable coverage in a fraction of the boxes, cabling, and rigging, which matters a lot when your setup crew is volunteers, not a paid production company. Microphones are important, and this is where budget and reliability really need to balance. For a small to mid-sized room, a system like the Shure SLX-D hits the sweet spot. Clean, digital wireless, simple channel scanning so you're not fighting interference every Sunday, and pricing that stays reasonable per channel compared to Shure's higher-end Exient or ULX-D systems. If the budget's tighter than that, there are solid entry-level digital wireless options in the $200 to $300 range per channel that could get a team through a service reliable. Just don't go cheaper than that for anything touching a live program feed. A dropped or crackling mic during a sermon is one gear failure the congregation does actually notice. Now here's a piece that some people may forget about: digital snake and stage box that hooks to the Behringer X32. The Behringer S32 is a 32 input, 16 output digital stage box that sits on stage. It talks to the X32 over a single Cat5e cable using Behringer's SuperMac programming. Instead of running a thick analog snake from every input on stage back to a mixer at the front of the house, you run one cable. Every mic, DI, and instrument plugs right in there on the platform. It's rack mountable. It's around $700, and it turns your cabling from a tangle of 40 individual runs into just one run. This next one's easy to overlook, but a portable travel router, something like a GL iNet or a Slate AX, solves a real problem: remote access. These small routers let your tech volunteers connect in the room to check on the streaming setup, push a network update, or troubleshoot the system before service without physically driving to the building. They're inexpensive, usually well under $200, and they double as a stable, isolated network for your production gear, so it's not fighting for bandwidth with guest Wi-Fi. Pairing this with the X32 and the X32 mobile app, you can also remotely monitor and adjust your sound from the board anywhere on the network. Alright, for this last piece, let's look at the computer running your lyrics and slides. The Mac Mini with the M4 chip is honestly overkill in the best way for this job. The base configuration handles ProPresenter smoothly. Lyrics, motion backgrounds, a confidence monitor for the stage, even a stream output without breaking a sweat. Renewed Vision, the company behind ProPresenter, recommends at least 16 gigabytes of RAM, which is worth a small upgrade from the base model. If you're running more than 2 or 3 unique screens, think stage, confidence monitor, lobby displays, and a live stream graphic all at once, step up to the M4 Pro version for extra graphics horsepower. For most single room setups though, the base Mac Mini M4 is plenty, and at only a few $100s, it's one of the most affordable pieces on this entire list relative to what it does. So that's the core list. An X32 at the center, a pair of Evolve 90s carrying the room, solid digital wireless for your vocals, an S32 stage box cleaning up all your cabling, travel router for some access, and a Mac Mini running your presentation software. None of this is the cheapest gear you could buy, and none of it is the most expensive. It's the gear that shows up on a real budget remodel because it's reliable enough that volunteers can run it without a full-time engineer standing by. So if you're planning your own remodel, start with the room itself, seating count, shape. Work outward from there. The list changes for a 200-seat room versus an 800-seat room, obviously, but the categories stay the same. Thanks for watching, and if this was helpful, you know what to do.